Welcome. Thanks for coming on the show. It's really great to have you.
Hey, Vonnie, it's nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So tell me about yourself and the company and what you're working on.
Sure, sounds good. So just to set the context a little bit, anyone who's listening in, I would say, think about your last trip to the grocery store, your last stroll down the fresh produce aisle. And what are you seeing when you look around? You're seeing a lot of gorgeous, juicy, amazing produce, but you're also probably seeing a lot of plastic, a lot of plastic. And if you're anything like me, you're probably thinking this shouldn't even be here in the first place, right? Probably half of that packaging could just be eliminated in general. Maybe you're also seeing some paper packaging. There's some really cool packaging innovations that we've seen, cardboard trays for apples or, any kind of other papers that you might have seen. But then there's also those flexible plastics that you just can't seem to get away from. They're everywhere. LDPE, low density polyethylene. And it's this amazing material that's ended up in our global supply chains. And it's extremely difficult to recycle, even if it is recyclable. So that's exactly why the company that I work for, Sway, exists. Sway is a material science company, and we are innovating and scaling home compostable packaging made with seaweed. We are working to lower the amount of fossil-based inputs as much as we possibly can, increase the amount of plants that are in every package, and then also maximize the regenerative inputs, which for us is seaweed. And then after this package's use is through, it's home compostable right in your backyard. So whether or not you have access to industrial composting facilities, you are able to compost this if you take the time to do the practice.
Excellent. So tell us about what stage you're at, or do you have sales? What's the size of the company, kind of where you are as a company right now and where your products are?
Yeah. So we're focused on flexible thin films. I have a sample right here. This is a shopping bag that we've made. It's got a die cut handle at the top. We also create poly bags, which is the kind of package that you would get if you made an order off of Amazon or ordered a t-shirt. Something would arrive to you in a poly bag. Mm-hmm. And that packaging is offered through packaging distributors like Eco Enclose and Atlantic Packaging, who I know is going to be here at the show, which is awesome. Go find JJ if you want to talk about Sway packaging. Mm-hmm. And what's amazing is that we launched this material last year with primarily fashion and outdoor gear brands, products that are dry and companies that are mission aligned and want the packaging that they're using to match the quality of the care that they put into their products and the material that goes into their products. But now, through the Fresh Fields Catalyst program that we're a part of, we're working to optimize our materials for food contact, which is like a North Star dream come true for Sway.
Having them be wet sometimes, what effect does that have and what kind of different considerations did you have to think about?
Yeah, well, I mean, when you're working with biology, your material is going to be a little bit different, right? So our materials are moisture resistant, but they're not quite ready to package wet or perishable items, but we're working our way through food contact compliance. So right now, in that very complicated process, we've already passed contact safety for dry food. We're working on moist and fatty food contact compliance. Our approach really when we're thinking about food contact safety is first we're starting with all of the raw ingredients that go into the packaging. So all of the materials that we're choosing from, or the ingredients that we're choosing from the very start are generally recognized as safe. They're FDA approved, and then comes all of the testing that comes with it. And that's a huge part that this accelerator has been able to enable us to do.
And are you looking, so for the produce industry, are you looking for plastics that'll go over the top of like a fiberboard package, or what do you think the solutions will end up looking like?
I mean, because there's so many areas where we see flexible plastics appearing in the food space, there's so many opportunities for us. But some of the prototypes that we started formatting through this program include pouches for herbs or apples or potatoes. So any kind of like open bag that you can think of. We can add in different features like ventilation or zippers or handles. So you could think of like a pepper package that has a handle on it. That's a really good example. And for international produce exports, we love the idea of using our material for a bulk bin liner to make sure that food inside stays protected and keeps from spoiling, keeps from bruising, all of that good stuff.
So, what are the issues that we're seeing as we know we have to get away from the single use plastic, especially for export? And this is something the whole industry is like, yes, we need to do this. However, trying to figure out how you fit different materials into the way that we do things now. And so the people that make the plastic bags and really do things at scale, how are you working with like the machinery part of it, where people that make the bags and supply things in huge at huge scale?
So when you think about where Sway fits into the entire supply chain, we are the material innovation side of what's going on. We are that pillar within a network of different partners who are bringing this material to market. So that's why we partner with, after Sway, our formulations will go to manufacturers who turn those formulations into scaled production. From there, rolls of film, which is where this where this product comes from, those rolls of film will go to converters and then distributors who end up bringing the product out to the world. So Sway is involved to some degree, but really that's where all of the distributors come in to play, which is why we love working with Eco Enclose and Atlantic Packaging. They're helping us figure out new formats for our packaging and how to bring them up in scale to the partners that need them.
So, what do you actually supply? We have to take a little trip into talking about algae. Um, so, how do you? Where does the algae come from? How do you harvest it? What do you guys do, and what do you hand over to people like Atlantic Packaging?
Yeah. So let's talk about seaweed real quick. My favorite topic. Seaweed is an amazing marine resource to be working with. You'll see compostable packaging that's already on the market. It's probably made with corn, potato, sugarcane, all great crops, but ones that we should be prioritizing for feeding our growing global population. These crops can be fairly resource intensive to grow, which makes it hard to justify using them in materials like packaging when they could be going to feeding people. So that's why we see seaweed as this amazing alternative. Seaweed grows abundantly on nearly every coastline in the world. It provides all of this goodness as it grows, creating biodiversity benefits, purifying water by absorbing carbon and nitrogen and phosphorus. It can reduce erosion. It can even sequester carbon. And when you compare it to crops like corn and potatoes, it thrives off of just sunlight and seawater. You don't need pesticides. You don't need synthetic inputs. You don't need arable land. You don't need fresh water. All of these resources that could be going into growing crops, again, to feed people. So seaweed has all of these natural polymers inside. The polymers being the building blocks that give seaweed its structure. And over the billion years that seaweed has existed, algae has existed, these polymers have adapted to withstand all of the harsh conditions of the ocean. You see seaweed kind of swaying around in the water and it's staying intact despite these really harsh conditions. So these polymers can be extracted and then they can mimic all of those compelling qualities of plastic, much like seaweed. Creates very strong, very durable, flexible, lightweight product.
So, are you able to make it clear, or is it always going to have some color to it?
Right now, it does have a bit of a haze to it. It's got a bit of a cream to golden kind of tint on it. We have learned through the program that clarity ends up being it's a big driver for folks in the industry, right? You're looking at tomatoes and you want to see within the package that you're looking at the quality of the tomatoes. So that's something that we are able to work on through this program. But yeah, naturally, it does provide a little bit of extra something to the package.
I was moderating a panel Pack Expo a couple of weeks ago, and I was talking to Wyatt from Taylor Farms, and my closing question was, "What do you see the future? What's going to happen with packaging and produce?" And so his answer was really surprising. He said, "Consumers are just going to have to get used to not having clear plastic." they're gonna have to accept the fact that the covering, isn't gonna be clear. Because as we move to these new materials, that's gonna be one of the things. And instead of you spending all these resources trying to make it completely clear, I'd rather see the consumers have to just accept the fact that. And the other thing you said about that I thought was fascinating is that's where brands will play a bigger role. So if you have trust in your brand of berry or your brand of leafy greens or something, then it's not as important that you look at it because it's going to be good. So I thought that was a interesting future look of maybe
Yeah,
what we'll have to do.
trust in the provider of the product,
Hey.
not the packaging to
Yeah,
sell the quality of
exactly.
what's inside. Yeah. That's a
Exactly.
great point. I really appreciate you bringing that up because there are so many expectations that we are held against as a material innovator, and we're just a few years old.
Yeah,
This product has only been around for a year.
and it's pretty amazing.
It's pretty amazing. So I'm over here. I feel like I get to brag on behalf of my team who are amazing technical experts in this space. We have folks who have been in the industry for years. Our first engineer that we ever hired used to work for Big Plastic, as we like to call it. So we're making huge, huge strides towards that perfect product. But right now, it's all about celebrating every step in the
Exactly.
progress to get there.
Yeah. So Sway was in the Fresh Fuel Catalyst Accelerator this year, as you mentioned, as part of the USD grant. Can you talk a little bit about the benefit from being in the program and some of the things that your company has learned?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first, just being able to have support from the USDA and FAR is such an incredible testament to the work that we have been able to achieve so far. It's been amazing to lean on the experts within the program and to be able to get insight and advice from you all. So thank you, Vonnie. You've been part of that. But being in the Fresh Fields Catalyst program really has enabled Sway to work with brands in the produce industry that have been on our dream list for years. Again, we launched this product about a year ago, and it drew in this really amazing influx of attention from food brands that we couldn't service because we didn't have the food contact compliance. There were barrier properties that we had to meet that we weren't quite at yet. There were strength requirements that we had to get to, different factors that made our product much easier for fashion and outdoor gear brands to pilot and start to scale. So now, with this program, we've been able to reach back to brands who have been in our pipeline, who we've developed relationships with, saying, we would love to work together when the time is right. And now the time is right. So we're working with multiple partners to prototype and test and get tons of feedback on our materials in the packaging formats that work best for their company. We're working with brands like Yes Apples, like Jacobs Farm Del Cabo, Row 7 Seed Company, Jack Vandenberg, just to see how our materials might be able to fit into their supply chains. And another amazing partner that we've been introduced to through the program is Emerald Packaging, who is now working with our materials.
They love you.
And we
Really.
love them back.
It was really great. I got to see that connection when we went to visit them, and Matt just started, they just started talking to each other and, continued the conversation later. And that's the reason we do what we do, is try to make those connections so that the industry can improve. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And it's not
it's
just
a great
connections,
partner.
it's alchemy. You get to see how inspired certain kinds of companies are to make that extra step and go that extra mile to bring innovation to the market. And right now, while we are still very much in progress, it's all about brand buy-in and those folks who believe in the mission to create truly home compostable packaging with regeneratively farmed and regeneratively cultivated seaweed. Those partnerships mean everything, and that's what's going to make this future possible.
Great. Well, as we close, is there any other thing you want to make sure people know about Sway? We
Well,
could go on for hours. I
we
know.
really could go on for a long time. I would say if you want to chat, come find us. We're in the Technology Accelerator alongside the other Fresh Fields Catalyst participants. And if you have any interest in regenerative agriculture, regenerative aquaculture is such an amazing industry to start to learn about. I could talk about seaweed all day and would love to talk about it with anyone here.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thanks for
Appreciate it.
having me.
Coming up, Vonnie sits down with Anthony Zografos to share his insights.
Welcome, Anthony. Thank you for being here at the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me, Vonnie.
Why don't you tell us, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about the company, and we'll go from there.
Great. My name is Anthony Zografos. I'm the CEO of Akorn Technology. Akorn is a business-to-business company, works primarily with growers, packers, primarily exporters. And we deliver solutions that enable them to both reduce their losses in the supply chain by 50% or more, and also deliver a higher quality, better tasting fruits and vegetables to the end consumers. And we do this through primarily post-harvest treatments, such as edible coatings and fungicides. And we cover a very broad range of produce, from apples and pears and oranges and mangoes and avocados and, cucumbers and so on and so forth. And what really differentiates us from other companies in the space is the fact that everything we do is 100% natural. We don't use any chemicals. We don't use any plastics. We just use plant-derived materials and oils. And we think we're doing justice to the fresh produce. And we're also meeting the consumers where they are today, which is what they expect.
Exactly. Wow. So are you in the market now? Do you have sales?
We are in the market. We're primarily in markets in South America, South and West Africa, also in Australia. And we are starting to now enter the US market, which is more challenging than others.
What makes it more challenging?
Well, what makes it more challenging is that the supply chain is so well developed. So the spoilage in the supply chain is actually greatly reduced compared to what happens, elsewhere. So avocado that exports from Peru to Europe has significant losses. Avocado that is shipped from, just south of the border to California, not really so much. So the need for this solution is not as high.
So what's the mode of action if it's going from Peru to Europe and it has your coating on it? What is the coating doing? Just stopping transpiration, or how does it work?
So one of the key differentiators of our product is the following. Most other products in the market, they really contain one active ingredient, which is primarily wax, and all it does is reduces moisture loss. Our products contain actually 3 ingredients, sometimes even 4, that they manage different modes separately. They manage the moisture loss, they manage the respiration rate, gas exchange, and also the color development. So we can control this pretty much independently, not just through moisture loss. So our product is very, very well suited for highly perishable fruits and vegetables, such as stone fruit, pears, mangoes, avocados, tropical fruit, all that.
So you sell to the grower shipper, that's your customer?
We sell to the packers, yes.
And then how do they apply it? Do they need special equipment?
They do not. Most pack houses already have some sort of application equipment, and our product is completely 100% plug and play. As a matter of fact, people can switch over from their existing wax to a new wax to our product in literally minutes.
So is it sprayed?
It's a spray.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Now, in the event that they do not have the equipment, we actually provide a turnkey service, and it is really the cost is just a few $1,000s. So we can provide a complete system that does the application and the treatment, and as part of our service.
And what are you finding with market adoption? Like when you go into someone in the United States where maybe waste is a little bit lower, what are the challenges to selling to them, and how do you overcome any barriers that they have?
Yeah, and something just happened, as a matter of fact, on October 1st, which is extremely favorable to us and I think to the public. Walmart published new guidelines that they ban a number of chemicals from their products. And a lot of these chemicals are already present into competing coatings. So all of a sudden, the playing field has changed, and our products now have actually a very favorable environment because we contain no chemicals. None of the chemicals that are contained, they're part of the Walmart list, that are contained in competing products are in our product. So that changed the landscape immediately for us.
Yeah.
So far, frankly, in the US, it's been tough. People like our product, and the obvious question is, why would I do it?
Yeah.
Why would I change?
So what's your answer?
And the answer is, that's why. The climate has changed. Now people don't like chemicals anymore.
Yeah.
All this time, people would simply accept the chemicals without really knowing what they were accepting. Now, also through the administration initiative, the presence of chemicals in fresh fruits and vegetables has come to the forefront. And all of a sudden, now this is a significant issue. So now we have, the absence of chemicals, great performance, and very competitive cost. So now we already have a very favorable landscape for us.
And are you selling direct or through distribution? Or
In many cases, we sell direct. In some, more challenging markets like Brazil, for example, or South Africa, we sell through distributors.
how would a consumer know that your product is on the product? Are people trying to use it as a selling point in retail, or?
So that is a very good question. Generally speaking, the consumer does not know what is on the product, right? Even the waxes that exist presently, there is no indication other than in the bottom of the box somewhere that it contains wax.
Yeah.
So that is not something that's been presented to the consumer. In our case, we feel that our product may be presented to the consumer very favorably because it says it replaces chemicals. It replaces chemical products with all natural products and offers you a healthier alternative.
Yeah.
But this is ultimately the business of the packer and the retailer. We support their efforts. We don't go into the forefront.
Yeah. Got it. So your company was in the Freshfield Catalyst Accelerator this year.
Yes.
And the program is exactly made for companies like you so that we can reduce single-use plastic and be able to export to other countries that have changing regulations. So what was your experience of the program?
It's been a great experience so far, and let me explain why. So what we developed is a coating for cucumbers that not only replaces the plastic wrapping, which is present today, but is also cheaper, right? The problem has been that in the past, other companies made similar promises and they didn't deliver. So there was a very unfavorable view in the industry of this approach. And I think through this program, we've actually been able to flip it. You gave us the platform to present. We actually have cucumbers on the floor that people can come and touch them and see that, wow, this looks great. This is shiny. Doesn't smell bad. It's perfect. So you gave us this platform and, of course, exposure through to retailers and, industry leaders.
Yeah.
So it's been great for us, and thank you for that.
Oh, good. And have you been to the show before?
We've been to the show before a couple of years ago. We missed last year.
Yeah, it's a great show, huh?
It's a great show. And,
yeah.
I want to say that I was here 10 minutes, literally yesterday, and I met one of our key customers who we've been, hitting and missing each other for several weeks. We spent 15 minutes, we worked out the plan. It was great.
Oh, I love hearing that.
Great. Yeah.
That's why it's important to be in person, right?
It is very important.
Yeah.
There's no remote here.
Yeah. And you try to set stuff up. I had a podcast interview with someone yesterday that we have canceled on each other like 4 meetings on the phone. And so I finally just said, let's come talk at the podcast.
Yeah. There is no substitute for that.
Yeah, it's really great. Yeah. Anything else you want to tell us about the company or the product? Or
we're a U.S. company. We do have global presence, and we feel that what we do is consistent with global trends. Our products are globally compliant. They comply to every regulation because they're natural, and we think we're bringing a very fresh perspective, a fresh take, to this field, which been badly needed.
Great. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate it.